Hello students, today we will learn about different type of mirrors. Okay, so mirror are classified into two different groups. One is plane mirror and another is spherical mirror or curved mirror. So plane mirror is a type of mirror that has a flat reflecting surface. Okay, and a spherical mirror is a type of mirror that has a curved reflecting surface. It is a curved reflecting surface. And this spherical mirror again classified into two different groups. One is convex mirror and another is concave mirror. So this convex mirror is a type of mirror that has a reflecting surface in outward direction. This is convex mirror, this is the reflecting surface and this is curved and which is present in the outward direction. And this is also a curved mirror that has the reflecting surface in inward direction. So this surface is produced. Okay. So once again, mirror is classified into two different groups. One is plane mirror and another is spherical mirror. Plane mirror is a type of mirror that has a flat reflecting surface. And in case of spherical mirror, the type of mirror that has a curved reflecting surfaces, which can also be divided into two different groups. One is convex mirror and another is concave mirror. So what is convex mirror? The type of mirror that has a curved reflecting surface in outward direction, and it has the type of curved mirror that has a curved reflecting surface in inward direction. So next, plane mirror. It is a type of mirror that has a plane or flat reflecting surface which produces an erect and virtual image of an object. So first, these are the three common factors of a plane reflecting surface. And the surface of the mirror is flat and it always produces an erect and virtual image. So, what do you mean by erect? Erect means if this is the object, this is the top side and this is the bottom side. If the image looks similar like the object, that is the head is in the top and this head is at the bottom, then this is called a erect image. Head in upward direction, the head is also in upward direction, and if it happens that the head is in upward direction and in the image if it is in the downward direction, then this is called inverted image. This is erect image of the object. So erect means the inversion of the nature of the object in its image. Clear? So erect means if the head is in the upward direction, the head of the image will be also in the upward direction. And inverted image means if the head is in the upward direction, the head of the image will be in downward direction. Okay. So these are the three concepts related with the plane mirror. Now, how an image is formed by a plane mirror. Consider this is a flat rotating surface that is a plane mirror. The object is usually in that. So first side will move in this direction. Consider another ray. It moves in this direction. And this is the normal at the point of incidence. After reflection, it will move in this direction. Okay, so in this case, the ray that moves in this direction is related to that as this angle 90 degrees. So for normal distance, we learn that the ray will return back from its original path. So in this case, one ray is moving in this direction and another ray is moving in this direction. So these two rays never going to meet at any point. So if this if we enlarge this point and this point, we can say this ray appears to meet at this point. Remember the definition of virtual image. The two rays appears to meet at any point. So these two rays appears to meet at this point. So this point will be the image of this point object. For large object, we also can draw, but keep it simple. So for a point object, this is the point image. So as those rays are not meeting at any point, so they appears to meet from this point. So this will be the virtual image of the object. So remember the 2 points. The image will be virtual, and second, the image will be erect. So for point object, there are no symbol of erectness. That's why if we take a large object like this, we can see this type of image will be formed. So this is the object and this is the image. This is erect, it is in upward direction, it is also in upward direction, and this is the ray and it's the virtual. So next, the property of images that formed by the plane mirror. A very first property of this is the image is virtual in nature. Second, the image is erect in nature. Third, we can say the distance of the object from the mirror. The distance of the object from the mirror is equals to the distance of the image from the mirror. That is these two distances are equal. If it is 3 cm, that means it will be also 3 cm. So distance of the object from the mirror is equal to the distance of the image from the mirror. This distance is called object distance. This distance is called image distance. Okay. And the size of the object is always equal to the size of the image. Okay. If we look into a looking glass, we will always see the image size is equal to our size, not enlarged or diminished. So the property is the size of the object and the size of the image are same. Next, here we observe a lateral inversion in the image. What? Lateral inversion. So what is lateral inversion? If you look some word into a mirror like B, it will look like this. If you look D, it will look like this. So actually lateral inversion means the left side of the object appears to become the right side of the image, and the right side of the object appears to become the left side of the image. This inversion of the side of the image with respect to the object is called lateral inversion. In the formation of image by plane mirror, we observe this property. Okay, but the side of the image inversed laterally with respect to the object. There are some words for which we are not able to see this type of inversions, like A in mirror, it also appears as A. For O, it also appears like O. So there are no inversions occurs. Actually inversion occurs, but as they are symmetrical, that's why no inversion observed. And symmetrical means if I draw a central line, the right side looks similar line as the left side. So, but if I draw a line here, the left side is not equal to the right side. Okay, so this property of the inversion of the side of image with respect to the object is called lateral inversion. So these are the properties of the images formed by the plane mirror. Next, the uses of plane mirror. Why we use these plane mirrors? First, the very basic use we all use in our room as a looking glass, and second, it is also used in kaleidoscope, or it is used in solar cookers, and there are other places where we also use this type of mirrors.
Next, spherical mirror. A spherical mirror is a part of a glass sphere. Consider it as a glass sphere, and if we chop it in this way, okay, so how it was, then any one side of the remaining part, maybe the inner part or maybe the outer part, if polished, suppose the inner part polished, then this is called a spherical mirror. And to the outside, then inner side will act as a reflecting surface, and then this mirror will be called as a concave mirror. When outer side act as a reflecting surface, this is called. Next, different terms used to describe a spherical mirror. There are several terms which are used. Very first, the center of curvature. Now, what do you mean by center of curvature of a spherical mirror? The definition is said to be, we already learned that a spherical mirror, that is a curved mirror, is a part of a spherical glass. Okay, so if I consider it as a sphere, so it has a center, suppose at this point. So the center of the sphere of which the mirror is made up of is called center of curvature. Once again, the center of the sphere from which the mirror is made up of is called center of curvature. Okay. Second, radius of curvature. Same way, the radius of the sphere by which the mirror is made up of is called the radius of curvature. So I can say this is radius of curvature. This is also radius of curvature. It's also a radius of curvature. So the radius of the sphere from which it is made up of is called radius of curvature. Third term is pole. What is pole? Now pole is the geometrical midpoint of the spherical mirror. What do you mean by the geometrical midpoint? Now if I consider it as a spherical mirror, so the center of it, like at this position, this is the center, middle point of the mirror, this is called pole. So the center of the spherical mirror, in this case considering this is the center, so this is defined as pole as P, center as C, radius of curvature as R, small or capital. Okay, next part of it, principal axis. What do you mean by principal axis? It is the straight line that passes through the pole and center of curvature. The line or straight line that passing through the pole and center of curvature. That is, if I draw a line from the pole to center, this line is called, give the name AB. So this is called principal axis. Clear? So the straight line that passes through pole and center of curvature is called principal axis. In fifth, focus. What do you mean by focus? This is a very important definition. You must have to remember it. So, let's consider it as a concave mirror. If this is the principal axis, if some parallel beam of rays which are very close to the principal axis, falls on a reflecting surface, may be concave or convex, then after reflection it converges at a fixed point on the principal axis. If some parallel beam of rays which are very close to the principal axis fall on a spherical surface, then after reflection it converges or diverges at a point. As in this case I consider it as a concave mirror, that's why the rays will converge, that is, they will meet at a specific point. So this specific point where the rays meet is called focus. Okay, this is called focus. And in case of convex mirror, suppose this is the principal axis, the first rays, second, third, fourth, their rays are coming from this direction, it will move in this direction, it will move in this direction, it will also move in this direction, it will move also in this direction. So they are never going to meet, but if we enlarge it, what we will see, they appears to meet at this point, that is we called diverges at this point. So may be converging or may be diverging. The point on the principal axis on which the rays converges or diverges, this specific point is called focus. Next, focal length. So distance of the focus from the pole is called focal length. Suppose at this point the focus is situated, so distance of the focus from the pole, it is this distance of the focus from the pole is called focal length. Clear? Next, the relation between focal length and the radius of curvature. What is the relation between focal length and the radius of curvature? So what we said, that the radius of curvature is the radius of the sphere of which it is made up of, and what is focal length, the distance of the focus from the pole. So this is the radius of curvature or radius this is the focal length f. So what is the relation between f and r? F equals to r by 2. So focal length equals to radius of curvature by 2. Always the focal length of a mirror remains half of its radius of curvature, and you must have to remember this relation, that is the relation between focal length and radius of curvature will remain unchanged irrespective of the surrounding medium. That is, if a mirror is immersed inside water, inside glycerin or any other medium, the focal length will remain same. There will be no change in focal length. But when we learn about lens, we will see that the focal length will change with respect to the medium. In different medium, the value of focal length will be different, but in case of mirror, the focal length will remain unchanged irrespective of the surrounding medium. And the second thing is, if I consider it as a curved mirror and this half portion of the mirror is coated or chopped, whatever, if the half portion is disconnected from the mirror, what will happen to the image? Is it possible to form image? The answer is yes. It will produce the same type of image as the full mirror, but the intensity, that is the brightness of the image, will reduced from its original, but other properties of the image will remain unchanged if we chop a mirror. Understood? So these are the different terms which are related to spherical mirror. Next, characteristics of image formed by concave and second convex mirror. So what are the characteristics of the image formed by concave mirror? Now, if I consider it as a concave mirror, let this is the principal axis, this is the center, this is the focus, and it is the pole. So if the object is between focus and pole, if the object distance, that is the distance of the object from the pole, is less than its focal length, then the nature of the image will be, first, the image will be erect in nature, second, magnified, and third, virtual. Okay, so what if the object distance is less than its focal length? The image will be erect in nature and magnified, not highly magnified, that is the size of the image will be larger than that of the size of the object, magnified means, and virtual. But when the object moves in this direction, what we will observe? That at focus, when the object will be placed, the image will be maximum in size, the image will be inverted, real, and highly magnified. And from this position, when we move towards the center and we leave the center, in that condition the size of the image will be decreased. Okay, so that is, if we place an object in this position, the size of the image will be less than this position. Clear what I said? That when the object moves from focus to the center and from center towards or beyond the center of curvature, then the size of the image will decrease, the nature of the image will be inverted and real. These are the following properties of the images that found by concave mirror. We will learn it more by ray diagrams. But in case of convex mirror, wherever the object is, maybe it is at this position, in this position, or in this position, wherever the object is, the image will always be erect second virtual, and third smaller in size, that is diminished. Okay, and it will be formed, this is the pole and suppose this is the focus, between pole and focus in case of convex mirror. Clear? So in case of concave mirror, sometimes it produces erect image, sometimes it produces inverted image, sometimes it produces magnified image, sometimes it produces diminished image, and also sometimes it produces real image, and also sometimes produces virtual image. So all the formats are possible in this case, but in case of convex mirror, it always produces erect, virtual and diminished image of an object. Clear? So these are the following properties of concave mirror and convex mirror. Next, the uses of concave and convex mirror. So first, uses of concave mirror. So in this mirror, as we observed that it can produce a magnified image, so as a magnifying glass it can be used. So as a magnifying glass, in someone house we can see that a different type of looking glass is present, in which if you look, the size of the image will be larger than your actual size. It's not present in everyone house, but in someone house you can see a different type of mirror, in which if you look, the size of your face becomes greater or larger than your actual face. So this type of mirror is actually a curved mirror, in which a concave mirror is present. And there are other use as a saving mirror, it is used so to look our face little bit larger than the original, so that we can save our face clearly. And second use of it is, as dentists also use this type of mirror to magnify, as for him it requires to see our inner part of the teeth very clearly, that's why he uses the concave mirror. And in the headlight of car it also used, and the concave mirror is also used in solar cooker. In case of convex mirror, as it always produces diminished image and erect image, so the large use of convex mirror is in the car mirror, that is rear view mirror, which are used to see the objects present behind us. Okay, this is a very major use of convex mirror. There are also other uses, that in the street lamps it is used to spread the light over a long area, and there are also other uses, like in the shopping malls it is used to look out about the thieves, that from a very small person we can look a very large area, as it has a very long field of view. Okay, so that is from a convex mirror we can observe a very large portion, which is not possible in case of concave mirror. That is the advantage. That's why, for this reason actually, we use convex mirror as a rear view mirror. Clear? So these are the uses of convex mirror and concave mirror. And there are some homeworks you have to do. I forgot to tell about in the previous classes, that write the difference between real image and virtual image. Second, write the difference between regular reflection and irregular reflection. Third, difference between concave mirror and convex mirror. Okay, just prepare it by yourself. I think you can do these things. In our next class we will learn about the images that formed by the concave and convex mirrors. Okay.